as well. We will be talking to him about his opinion on Article 175A, which has been sent back to the Parliament for reconsideration. Mr. Raja, what would they reconsider and how would they reconsider it?
You see, the argument before the court was that certain aspects of Article 175A are not entirely clear. For instance, it is not clear whether the Parliamentary Committee is required to give reasons for its rejection of a name forwarded by the Judicial Commission. The Supreme Court has said that that can be read into 175A, but they have also desired Parliament to make that clear through a clear amendment to 175A. There are various other observations that they have made as well regarding the mixing of the executive with the judicial members, regarding Article 68 of the Constitution, which says that the conduct of a judge will not be discussed on the floor of the House and so on. And what they've said is that Parliament should take these observations into account and make appropriate amendments to Article 175A. Thereby they have accepted the primacy of Parliament as far as the constitutional process is
concerned. But they have said we're not competing with the Parliament at the moment.
Absolutely, and that is why I think this is such a historic moment. The Supreme Court has completely rejected the notion that there is some tussle between the institutions in Pakistan, between the Supreme Court and Parliament. They have given Parliament another historic opportunity to rise to the occasion, to make appropriate amendments to allay all fears. And they've deferred, or they have restrained from accepting this basic structure theory notion whereby the Supreme Court becomes the ultimate arbiter of what goes into the Constitution and what stays out. They are trying their best not to adopt that theory, and they're hoping that Parliament will rise to the occasion, and the nation must now hope that Parliament will rise to the occasion.
Don't you think for the Parliament to be trusted and rise to the occasion, the Supreme Court had given it a full authority or power, or should have not deferred the petitions on 18th Amendment till January?
No, I think this is very wise. They have said that, look,
keeping options open.
Yes, they're keeping options open, which is, I think, all right. They're saying, and we still don't know what the decision ultimately would be once the entire Supreme Court sits and deliberates again at the end of January. So all that they're saying is that, look, we have been told by the petitioners that we have the power to strike down constitutional amendments. We do not want to decide this issue at this point in time. We will if we have to decide it, but we are hoping that the occasion for deciding this issue will not arise, because this would fundamentally alter the balance between Parliament and the courts in Pakistan. And this is an alteration of the balance which we feel Pakistan does not need at this point in time. Our Parliament is still trying to establish itself. Our Parliament should not be further constrained and snubbed. This was our position on behalf of several civil society interveners, and it seems the Supreme Court wishes to allow Parliament a free hand. It wishes to allow Parliament to develop maturely, step by step, without being constrained by a basic structure theory or some other notion whereby the power of Parliament to amend gets constrained. So I am very hopeful that Parliament will make the appropriate amendments, the clarifications really that the Supreme Court has sought with respect to Article 175A, and thereby defer this crisis, or in fact entirely do away with this crisis.
And what happens to, they said they have given judicial enforcement to Article 175?
Absolutely, that is,
what is that?
That is only appropriate. What they've accepted it is that since Article 175A is there on the statute book, it is a part of the Constitution, it has to be acted upon. So all further appointments and also the confirmations of the additional judges of the High Courts will now happen in accordance with 175A, but subject to the observations made by the Supreme Court. Now those observations are that the Parliamentary Committee will give good reasons and so on. But they have
Which would be justiciable.
Which would be justiciable. But they have not suspended Article 175A, and the earlier interim order that was passed on the 6th of September.
Could you please explain for our viewers what is justiciable and how, if the Parliamentary Committee rejects certain names?
You see, what they've said is that if the Parliamentary Committee is to reject a name proposed or nominated by the Judicial Commission, it has to give reasons. And those reasons can then be challenged. That is the notion of justiciability. The candidate concerned can challenge those reasons before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will then see whether those reasons are valid or not, whether they were adequate for setting aside a recommendation made by the Judicial Commission or not. So I think this is a very great moment in our history. The Supreme Court has made a great gesture. It is up to the people of Pakistan now to prevail upon Parliament to rise to the occasion and to act in a constructive manner.
Thank you very much indeed. This was Mr. Salman Akram Raja telling us about the Supreme Court order. He believes the further appointments of the judges which would crop up in coming months would be dealt with under Article 175A of the Constitution, but with the observations handed down by the Supreme Court in this verdict.
Right, Faisal, thank you very much for that detailed update with Salman Akram Raja, legal expert, saying that the Supreme Court has indeed completely rejected the notion that there is a tussle between the Parliament and the judiciary. Also, that he is hopeful that the Parliament will make the clarifications that have been sought by the Supreme Court, and indeed a good gesture by the Supreme Court, as we heard by Barrister Zafrullah and Salman Akram Raja. Well, that's all the time we have.